Recently I made a reaction to Heritage Minute videos from Historica Canada. Now, as the name suggests and as I mentioned on my previous video, these are short, very well produced 1-minute videos that detail important moments and important people from Canada's rich history. Now, of course I love the videos themselves. As I mentioned, they're almost movie-like in their quality. I love that it was a wide range of topics with regards to Canada's history that I learned about, but what I enjoyed most was that each video gave me a desire to really find out more about each of these topics. So I'm going to be covering some of the topics in more detail over the coming weeks. Tell me if there's any subjects in Canada's history in particular you want me to learn about, and I'll do that. But today we're going to look at 12 more videos or Heritage Minute videos from Historica Canada. These are going to be maybe some of the earlier year ones, but we're going to check out a wide range of different ones. And we're going to be starting with Jacques Cartier, who I know a little bit about. I believe he's one of the first explorers to reach Canadian land. From my own knowledge, I know the Vikings, I believe, were the first group to actually land on what is now Canada, but they never settled there. But interested to know more about Jacques Cartier, and let's find out more.
Cascaragon idewe. Danonto, Canadagon, Ente, Matara.
What's he saying, Father?
Commandant Cartier is saying this nation's name is Canada.
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 Beg pardon, sir, but the word he used, I think it really means those houses down there.
No, believe me, I know the word. It means nation, and Canada is its name.
Wakiron, Canadagon.
But I'm sure it means the houses, the village.
Okay, so as you see there already, very high production value. I would love to see a movie with those characters. As we see there, what I understand from this is that was Jacques Cartier meeting the native people of Canada. That's an area I also want to learn more, is the native people. You see here, it is the First Nations people of Canada. And I believe this video, from what it looks like, is actually the creation of the name Canada. This must be where the name Canada actually comes from. And it looks like it actually maybe comes from some sort of miscommunication there. The head chief, or I'm not sure if that's what you would call him, but was describing the name of the village being Canada, or something that sounds like Canada, and the advisor to Cartier obviously just was like a bit of a yes man by the looks of it, saying yes, this is what their land is called, it's called Canada, but the other person realised what the correct thing was. But to see the birth of the name Canada, I think that's a very apt video for my first video of this new reaction. So really cool to learn about that part of Canada's history, the origin of the name. Next we've got one called Orphans.
Molly Johnson.
In the 1850s, many Quebec families adopted Irish orphans, their parents dead of ship's fever on the Atlantic crossing.
Alors Molly, voici ton nouveau père et ta nouvelle mère. Dorénavant, tu porteras le nom fier et historique de Bélanger. Tu es maintenant une petite Canadienne, Molly.
No, we have to keep our Irish name. Mon mère me l'a dit juste avant le serment. We have to pour la mémoire de mon patrie.
Ça, monseigneur, ça me paraît tout à fait acceptable.
Quel est ton nom, mon enfant?
Johnson, Sir Molly Johnson.
Et comment t'appelles-tu, toi?
Patrick O'Neill.
Et toi?
Kathleen Ryan.
A century and a half later, many of those names still resound in Quebec.
Wow, that's almost on that heartbreaking side of things, to actually see the struggle that some of these first immigrants to Canada actually had to go through. These young children losing their parents on that journey to a better life. starting off with that, but that shows you the complexity of Canada and why it's such an interesting country. You have French Canadians there, French-speaking Canadians, willfully and happily adopting these young Irish children, allowing them to keep their culture. But it really shows what Canada's all about, that immigrant story, what makes Canada today. And as they mentioned there, and what I see when I do my hockey reactions on my other channel, that there's a lot of people with Irish and Scottish sounding names, that they still have that part of their culture and history, is what makes Canada a beautiful place. And that is, it's a heartbreaking story, but bittersweet in that you see the real birth of Canada and Canada's people. I love that. Next we've got Underground Railroad.
Pa should have been here by now. He's 3 hours late already. Pa ain't gonna make it! One of them slave catchers got him. Something must have happened. I just know it.
Liza, you both made it past the border yesterday. We've all done this before.
He's our pa. He'll be here.
Come, let's pray.
No more praying. Liza! Liza!
Between 1840 and 1860, more than 30,000 American slaves came secretly to Canada and freedom. They called it the Underground Railroad.
Lisa! We're free!
Yes, Pa!
Wow, another video, and the production of that, man, that was exciting, but I really could feel that story, feel that pain and that sheer like confusion that those people must have felt at that time. It never crossed my mind, but the Underground Railroad is something I know of and something I've heard of. It was a pathway from America for slaves to leave, to get their freedom. And for some reason, I always thought it was just an American thing, to know that it actually went to Canada as well, and slaves were actually able to find that passageway out of their slavery and find peace and freedom in Canada. Such a fantastic thing, but you see how that actually manifested itself in the worry of this one story of this one family, but 30,000 people went through similar things like this, having to hide in places like this just to get their freedom. Again, I mentioned on the previous video that the slavery side of things in Canada is something I really never knew anything about, but seeing things like this, I definitely want to make another video and expand on that and learn more and gain a deeper knowledge on that. But something like that, such an exciting 1 minute, and you really see the pain that these families had to endure. Okay, next we've got Nitro.
All right, who wants to earn some danger pay? Boat fare for the wife. All you have to do is go down in the tunnel with the nitro and set the charge.
And my wife, you pay boat? Okay, I do very good. You see.
All right. Now pour it in the hole gently, understand? Any little bump and that stuff will blow.
Damn it, that's the third one we lost this month. Cochran, get another volunteer.
I went back in again, but I lost many friends. They say there is one dead Chinese man for every mile of that track. That's what they say.
Oh, some of these are actually making me a bit speechless. I know that doesn't help when I'm a reaction channel. I have to react to these things, but again, it's another story of immigrants, in this time in the building the foundations of Canada and its infrastructure. You can see how important immigration has been throughout the whole history of Canada. You see obviously this is Chinese, I believe, Chinese immigration in particular. And I guess it's a story that's shared by any immigrant. These immigrants required such bravery to make a new life for themselves in another land, in the first place, but some people like this, in situations, in their role in the building of the country, in their job, it really put their life in danger, man. This poor kid, this young guy, having to go down to that mine and lay that charge, the nitro charge, where he was so close to death. And obviously, you see the older man mentioned there that a lot of people lost their lives, and it's the same for any country that's growing, no matter whether it's the people who are from that country or the immigrants. A lot of people had to sacrifice a lot to build the countries we have today, the modern countries, and I think we should always appreciate that and pay respect to that. And yeah, in this case, the Chinese immigration in Canada, a fascinating story. Again, something I never really knew too much about. This one, Laura Secord, when I did my Canada quiz, her name came up in the quiz and it mentioned that she was some sort of war hero. I never knew that, but this is what I want to know more about her life.
In June of 1813, Laura Secord overheard the secret plans of the American soldiers in occupation.
You raise your sword against Fitzgibbon, Upper Canada will be broken.
How many men can we muster?
500 infantry, battery of artillery, my dragoons. Fitzgibbon can't manage more than 50 men, small band of natives. Not a serious resistance if you're equal to the enterprise.
Pursue the advance 2 days hence.
Take me to Fitzgibbon.
Laura Secord delivered her message to the Canadian troops. The Kahnawake Mohawks forced the surrender of 500 Yankee soldiers, and the American invasion was stopped.
Whoa. So her role in Canada's history is absolutely huge. How different could things have been if she never managed to convey that message? I mean, this is what it's all about. This is why I'm really enjoying these videos. I mean, apart from the production value and being really engrossed in each story because of how it's shot and how it looks, to learn about individuals like this who show amazing bravery, it honestly inspires me, and it gives me, I mean, like for her, for example, is someone I would love to learn more about her life and how she got to that moment and what she did after that moment. I'd love to know more about her life in detail. Tell me if you know about her, how she remembered, how could things have been different if it wasn't for her. It's interesting. Next, we've got syrup. As I mentioned, I love maple syrup. I think that's an interesting part of Canada's culture as well, having this thing. But let's learn more about it.
Wait.
It's a ceremony?
And Your Majesty may be pleased to know that this year, thanks to the help of our Indian friends, we have produced some 30,000 pounds of this sweet gift.
Wow, and again, I never thought when I started this channel that something I would be interested in finding out about is the origins of maple syrup, the origins of syrup. But it's fascinating also, so it obviously came from a technique used by the natives to Canada, who must have discovered that maybe a long time before anybody else, and they passed on their knowledge on how to produce that or how to turn that into syrup. I wonder how many people, you know how common or how popular maple syrup is to the whole world, never mind just Canada. I wonder how many people actually know its origins. But for me to find out, again, I never thought I would find out about that, but I'm really happy to do that, and I really appreciate finding out about that. Interesting part of Canada's history. Tell me if you knew about the origins of it before. Next, this is called Les Voltigeurs du Québec.
Messieurs, it's not over. You still have the last score to do, so please take it. We're now going to rehearse the crowning touch for the Saint-Jean-Baptiste Day. This score has just been composed especially for the event, so please, gentlemen. Messieurs, start over. Gentlemen, this piece deserves better. And the authors are Canadian like us, so please, gentlemen.
The Regimental Band of Les Voltigeurs.
Bravo, gentlemen.
They gave the first public performance of a new piece by Calix à la Vallée and Basil Rouchet in Quebec City on Saint-Jean-Baptiste Day, 1880.
So that's the origins of the Canadian National Anthem? That is fantastic. I know a lot of countries' national anthems, but I've never really taken my time to think about where they actually originated from or how they originated. To actually find out about Canada's, and you see the origins, just these guys, they'd been commissioned obviously to compose this or make this song in this performance. And if you think about modern days, how it's sang probably throughout Canada at sporting events and by every Canadian, these humble beginnings for such an iconic national anthem. I know that "O Canada," I've heard that many times before. And yeah, I've learned about the Canadian National Anthem origins and the origins of the word Canada, the name of Canada. This is really enjoyable so far. Tell me if you knew about the origins of the Canadian National Anthem. Tell me what the best performance ever of the Canadian National Anthem is. Maybe I'll do like a reaction to that. Next we've got Valor Road. Belgium.
Stay down, Hall! There's nothing you can do for him, you hippie! I gotta get him, sir! He's still alive! Come back! Come back, you fool! He's got him! He's bringing him back!
Sergeant Fred Hall lived on Winnipeg's Pine Street. Bob Shanklin lived on Pine Street too. And you know what? So did Leo Clark.
And the hole!
Sergeant! Sergeant! It's Clark. We just heard he took on 20 Germans. Clark?
Clark, Shanklin, Hall. Amazingly, they all won the highest award for courage we could give them, the Victoria Cross. That's why we changed the name of Pine Street to Valor Road.
Wow, that's an interesting story as well. And as I mentioned on my previous videos and I did with reactions, I'm really throwing myself into learning about the Canadian military. The bravery of the soldiers is next to, like, I mean, it's really the highest in the world. Like, what I've learned about is Canadian soldiers are some of the most brave, some of the best soldiers you'll find. And this is a story of 3 of them during the First World War who has such an impact on that war as well. Again, I've mentioned many times before already that being British, I really respect the Canadian military, but I am really enjoying finding out about these individual stories of certain people and their impact on these big conflicts and stuff like that. Canada has had such a huge role in these world wars, and yeah, these 3 guys deserve huge admiration. Next we've got Winnie.
So you'll be fighting in France tomorrow, huh? Well, good luck, Captain Caldwell. No one you can be sure will take very good care of the bear. You are noting that it's the official mascot of the 2nd Canadian Infantry Brigade?
Yes, sir.
So long, Winnie. You be a good girl while I'm gone.
Why Winnie, sir?
From my hometown, Winnipeg.
Oh, Daddy, I just love Winnie. Couldn't we take him home with us?
Christopher Robin, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll write some stories about Winnie, and Mr. Shepherd here will draw some pictures.
Oh, Daddy, let's call him Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, that's
Why
what I was
Pooh,
gonna-
son?
I don't know, just Winnie the Pooh.
And that's how a young Canadian soldier's bear inspired 4 volumes of stories and verse that still sell millions of copies around the world.
I had no idea Winnie the Pooh has Canadian origins. Something that's so important in literature, a story that pretty much every child, I mean so many millions of children from so many different countries would have read Winnie the Pooh, would have now been watching Winnie the Pooh cartoons on TV and things. Winnie comes from Winnipeg, the name. That's something I had no idea about. I mean, these are things what I'm enjoying about these videos is it's not subjects and not things I would think to actually research. Like, I've watched Winnie the Pooh when I'm younger. I would never have thought, where does this come from? Where does the name come from? But seeing all these very, very different stories and being able to learn about them and that they all have relevance to Canada, it's surprising me, but I'm really happy to now be learning about these things. Tell me if you knew about that. I had no idea. Next, we've got flags.
You won't believe some of these proposals. Look at this one. And this. Phew. Now this is what I wanted from the start. But Mike Pearson wants this. Well, he is the Prime Minister, but blue is not an official Canadian color. Meanwhile, John Diefenbaker and the Tories want this. You know, the only way I'll ever get the whole committee together is to persuade my Liberals to reject their own Prime Minister's choice. Well, the Tories will agree to that at least. Is there one design here that the whole committee can agree on that says Canada? No mistake about it. I wonder. Prime Minister and Mr. Diefenbaker, I was just talking about you. Are we all going to the same party?
Amazingly, John Matheson MP would achieve the unanimity he sought.
So was 1965, was that the origin or the year of origin for the flag? But again, so I mentioned there, I found out about the name of Canada, the Canadian national anthem, and now the origins of the flag. So I'm really, with this set of videos, I'm really getting to really understand the origins of Canada in several different areas, and it's really fascinating for me. The Canadian flag, as I mentioned on previous videos, it's a wonderful flag. I learned that the red is to pay respect to the blood shed by people in wars and conflicts for Canada. The white's for peace, and obviously the maple leaf is so synonymous with Canada. It's a wonderful flag, very iconic throughout the world. Everybody knows the Canadian flag, and I think everybody would think it's beautiful too. Some of those other options did look quite interesting as well. I like that blue one. Why was there going to be 3 maple leaves? Was there any reason why it just changed to 1, and why there was going to be 3? But really interesting story. And what I'm enjoying about these videos also is maybe people watching might not know some of these stories or might not know some of the origins, so we're kind of learning together. But if you're from Canada, tell me if you know about these stories and these different things, how you learned about them, if you're learning about them for the first time today. Next we've got Superman.
And he can lift anything. Anything at all. He's that strong.
Joe Schuster, will you stop it or you'll miss your train? Now help me find number 5.
Strong, but by day he's a mild-mannered reporter. Glasses, a secret identity.
Honestly, you Canadian kids.
He'd be in this cape.
A what?
A cape. Wearing these blue tights.
A hero in tights, really. Here it is.
Listen, Lois, this guy is faster than anything, I swear.
If you're not fast, you're gonna miss your train.
That's it. A bullet. He's faster. No, he's faster than a speeding bullet.
Come on, get on it. No one's gonna read a comic strip about a strong man in tights, Joe. It'll never fly.
Fly, no. But he can leap over tall buildings. Oh, wow, yeah.
See what your cousin Frank says in Toronto.
Wait, Lois. I've got something for you. Here, take it. It's a gift. You never know, it might be worth something someday. Is he great or what? Bye-bye, Lois.
So Superman was created by someone Canadian? how did I not know this before? First of all, what I want to say is just about this actual video as well. What I love to see is like when creative people have these ideas and they just have such belief in them, such determination to bring them to life. That's what like true creators can do, man. I love to see the way that was conveyed in this video. You really see his hunger to create what's in his mind and his belief in that idea and to bring that to life. And Superman was created by a Canadian. I had no idea. Superman and Winnie the Pooh, two very different characters, but two characters that are hugely important and influential in modern pop culture. And that's not just in Canada or North America, that's in every country. It's worldwide. Everybody knows these two characters, but do they know they were created by Canadians? I don't think so, but yeah, share this story, man. I love it. And the last video we got is basketball.
Frank! No, Frank, don't carry it. Dribble it. Frank, dribble it. Frank, shoot.
Is this some kind of Canadian joke, sir? I mean, I know you're the instructor and everything, but we can't carry the ball. How can we get a decent shot at the peach basket?
All right. Maybe we can allow a carry of a couple of steps.
And Mr. Naismith, sir, it sure slows things down having to climb up here every time.
Well, then let's cut the bottom out of the basket.
But I need these baskets back.
100 years after James Naismith from Almont, Ontario invented it, basketball was being played by hundreds of millions of people around the world.
Interesting, to be honest. It never really occurred to me that the origins of basketball would have been using a physical basket. I mean, that just makes sense, obviously, with the name, but again, I just look at basketball as this sport that's, again, hugely popular throughout every country and worldwide, especially in North America, of course. But the origins being so simple in this, like an educational facility, school or university, using literal baskets as the hoop. I did know that basketball was created by a Canadian, which is also something, after starting this channel, was just very interesting to find out, something I knew nothing of, but it's a great thing. But to see the sort of situation where these sports, I'm a huge sports fan, so I love to learn about the history of sports, especially soccer. Football is what I love. I love the history of football, but finding out about things like this and seeing its humble beginnings in that environment and how it's grown to what it is today, and that was all created by a Canadian, I think is great. And again, this is a wide range of subjects here. We've got the history of Canada, we've got important moments in Canadian history, we've got important people there. The creator of basketball, Superman, and Winnie the Pooh. I think Winnie the Pooh is more the idea, came from Canada, but a lot of varied like areas, and I just actually appreciate so much to learn about these. I've learned so much from this channel already, and I love making this type of video. I'll make another Heritage Minute reaction, so recommend your favourite Heritage Minute video that I've not reacted to yet. I'll make another compilation of 12 videos to react to, and we'll do that soon. But tell me what you think about these. Tell me if you learned anything new today. Thanks.